Good morning, delegates. I cordially welcome you all for the biggest session of National Youth Parliament. Hope this session will be a very fruitful one as we all sit together to discuss about the matters concerning the nation. Our first business is the oath-taking ceremony for the newly elected members from their respective constituency. Secretary General, please.
Shri Amit Shah, who stands elected from the Pali constituency of Gandhinagar, will now take the oath or affirmation. Sir, do you want to take oath or affirmation?
Oath, please.
In which language do you want to take oath?
In English, please. I, Shri Amit Shah, having been elected as the member of Lower House of the Youth Parliament, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by the law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and that I will faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter.
Honorable members, as we meet today, it is my warm duty to express grief towards the demise of late singer Lata Mangeshkar. She was popularly known as Nightingale of Bollywood, who has died at the age of 92 after contracting COVID-19. She was much loved international figure whose song provide backdrop to the lives of millions for 7 decades. She was popularly known as Didi because of her songs were constantly heard over the Indians. The opposition leader will follow my words.
Lata Mangeshkar was not just an Indian singing legend. The lovers of her melodious voice could be found all over the world. We should thank the Almighty for bringing people like Lata Mangeshkar into our country. She has entertained and inspired millions of people for many years. She holds the honor of being the first ever Indian to perform in the prestigious Royal Albert Hall, London. It was our country's highest civilian award. I would like to associate myself and my party in sending our condolences to the bereaved family.
Now the House will stand silence for a short while to depart his soul.
Please be seated.
I request the Secretary General to pass the message of condolence to her family. Now we move on to the question hour. Question number 101, Srimati Sonia Gandhi.
My question is to Finance Minister. Why government is not imposing GST for petrol and diesel products? If this comes to action, the society will be benefited and also ease inflationary burden. Why government is not taking any action for this change?
Honorable Finance Minister, please.
The change in duties takes into account of relevant factors such as international product prices, exchange rate, tax structure, inflation, and keeping in view the prevailing fiscal situation. Inclusion of these products on GST will require recommendation of GST Council. Our government has also reduced central excise duty on petrol by ₹5 per litre and on diesel by ₹10 per litre to provide relief to the consumers. And we are also planning to impose GST for petroleum and diesel products for the benefit of society.
Shri Karthik Chidambaram ji.
Whether the government proposes to extend the period of moratorium and also to write off the interest of loans during the moratorium period, Considering the COVID-19, there is any demand for restructuring of loans, and if so, the details thereof along with the steps taken if in this regard.
The Reserve Bank of India has announced certain regulatory measures in respect of all term loans, including agricultural term loans and retail crop loans. All the lending institutions regulated by Reserve Bank of India were permitted to grant a moratorium up to 6 months on payment of all installments. Subsequently, the Reserve Bank of India has provided a framework to enable the lenders to implement a resolution plan in respect of eligible corporate exposures without change of ownership and personal loans. Under this plan, the lending institutions may grant moratorium up to 2 years. The government has constituted an expert committee for making an overall assessment of the impact of waiving of interest and waiving of interest on COVID-19 related moratorium on the national economy and financial stability.
Question number 102, Srimati Jyotimani.
My question is to Defence Minister about Ladakh issue, in which the China military has been campaigned for more than long period of time from May 5, 2020. Their clash has been existing for a long period of time. When will the cold clash is going to end?
Honorable Minister of Defence, please.
As a Defence Minister of India, I am very responsible to answer this question. We know that India and China are neighbours and have a very good relationship too. But now there are some border dispute arises between India and China in the region of eastern Ladakh. To overcome these disputes, India and China signed an agreement to keep peace in both countries.
Shri Karthik Chidambaram ji.
If this cold clash still remains between India and China, and any time the war might exist, what are the precautionary taken from the Ministry of Defence?
Honorable Minister of Defence, please.
While the Chinese government violated the agreement, the Indian military at the 16th round put forth the 4-point constitutions. Both governments agreed to sign in the 4-point constitution. Moreover, that the Indian army has 15,000 soldiers in the region of eastern Ladakh to keep peace in the country. And then one more thing, the Indian army never allow the Chinese army inside India under any circumstances.
Any other supplementary question? Question number 103, Srimati Pratibha Singh.
My question is to the Ministry of Labour. What are the steps taken in order to increase the wages of labour working under the transport sector?
Honorable Minister of Labour, please.
Our government has agreed to provide a 5% salary hike to the Transport Department employers effective from January 2022. The promise had been made to the Transport Department Trade Union during the 14th wage revision tax held in the city on Thursday. Based on the earlier tax, ₹1,000 has been given as an interim arrangement. The trade union demanded 8% hike, but the government has promised 2% hike from September 2019 and 3% hike from January 2022. In total, 5% hike will be provided. We also assured that the shortcomings of earlier tax will be rectified and the final decision will be taken after discussions with trade union.
Question number 104, Srimati Ramya Haridas.
My question is to Minister of Agriculture, whether development and upliftment of farmers is the first priority of the government. If so, whether the government is working on a concrete plan to link the farmers with the markets with the aim to help the farmers in the trading of food grain, and if so, the details thereof.
Honorable Minister of Agriculture, please.
Yes, ma'am. Development and upliftment of the farmers is the priority of government. The government has been working continuously and has taken several concerned steps to link the farmers with the market with the aim of helping the farmers in trading in food grains. Agricultural marketing is a state subject and wholesale agricultural marketing is undertaken by the network of 6,630 regulated wholesale markets set up under the provision of respective state agricultural produce market committee APMC Act.
Any other supplementary question?
Honorable Speaker, my question is to the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Men and women does not have equal rights in the employment sector. So, what are the government planning to achieve this employment equality in society?
The Act makes abatement of child sexual abuse an offence. After the 2019 Abatement Act, the POCSO Act punishment is even stricter. A violation of POCSO Act carries a maximum punishment of life imprisonment and a fine. So, our government take a various act to stop the child abusement.
Honorable Speaker. My question is for Agriculture Minister. Whether the government has made any assessment of the success of the wholesale market through e-platform. If so, the details and the present status thereof.
Honorable Minister of Agriculture, please.
The government has not made any specific assessment on the success of wholesale market through eNAM platform. However, eNAM portal being an online platform provides up-to-date management information system MIS from market level up to national level for monitoring performance, thereby helping to continuously take appropriate conservative measures to improve the system. This has led to continuous and substantial increase in farmers' participation as well as trade volume on eNAM platform.
Question number 105, Mohammed Sadiq.
New national policy had been introduced in June 2020. When the policy will be implemented and what are the plans has to be taken by the government?
Honorable Minister of Education, please.
Ensuring universal access at all levels of schooling from primary school to grade 12. New curriculum structure 5+3+3+4 was planned. Due to global health pandemic, the government had a milestone to implement the policy. As we are entering into the 75th year of independence, implementation of this policy become a vital part in this year.
Mohammed Sadiq.
What are the benefits has been planned for that policy?
The main aim of launching the National Education Policy 2022 is to remodel India's education policy. Under this new education policy, nobody is forced to take particular language. Now the students can choose the language according to their interests.
Now I request Srimati Geeta Vishwanath to call the attention of Minister of Environment and Climate Change to report the impact on environmental impact assessment EIA 2022.
My question is to the Ministry of Environment. The EIA has multiple advantages, but there are many shortcomings of EIA, and they are loopholes in application process, inadequate public participation, insufficient expertise, dependency on technical and scientific data and analysis. This would lead to the dilution of various rules which would allow rampant infrastructure development at the cost of the environment.
Honorable Minister of Environment and Climate Change.
Honorable Speaker, the mentioned law of the EIA draft would be no more as the Government of India and Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change are highly concerned the environment, the prime aspect
concept of this EAA Act is to make a way of case of ease development. The advantages of EAA Act is it saves a lot of time and money. It helps to build a sustainable environment, to create an environment awareness to the public, protection of environment along with the balanced usage of resources. It helps in predicting environmental impacts at an early stage in project planning and design.
As mentioned by our Environment and Climate Change Minister, EIA is Environmental Impact Assessment. It was introduced to bring out industries' emissions and stoppage of industrial emissions and developing activities that are environmentally friendly. But we do not see any change in your government regarding this.
Honorable Prime Minister.
Honorable Speaker Ji, I want to make one thing clear to the members of the Parliament. EIA draft is made not to reduce the industrial emissions, but to exactly monitor the industrial emissions that is made by the industries that are hazardous for the nation. As already mentioned by the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, EIA involves greater process for sustainable environment that includes screening, scoping, investigation and report preparation, continuous monitoring with decisions and reviews that perfectly updates the emissions of the industries. And this act is brought only for the ease of industrial development.
Sonia ji, do you have any other question?
As mentioned by our Prime Minister, I think our party think that it is just in the written form. We do not see that in action. We want a proper step to be taken regarding this.
Speaker Ji, there are certain benefits that have already been the result by implementation of the EIA draft. Those results include economic benefits of the nation, environmental benefits due to the current monitoring and continuous monitoring of the wastes, and reduced cost and time that takes for a project to be established in our nation, and avoided treatment and cleanup cost is extremely reduced. These are the benefits after implementation of EIA draft. These are the practical changes that my government has made for the nation.
अभी प्रधानमंत्री ने बताया है ये पूरा बेनिफिट है. सोनिया जी, आपको कोई इंफॉर्मेशन लेना चाहिए इस बारे में?
No.
All right. As we have no more questions regarding this environmental impact assessment, now we are moving to the next session. Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, Minister of Finance, to introduce the Appropriation Bill 2022.
I plead to move for a leave to introduce a bill, the Appropriation Bill 2022.
Those who are in favor of it will say yes.
Yes.
Now those who are against of it will say no.
No.
I think so, mostly opted for yes. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. The motion is opted. The bill is passed. Honorable Finance Minister, please.
I introduce the Appropriation Bill, sir, for appropriation of certain sums from and out of consolidated funds of India for the services of financial year 2022 to 2023.
Those who are in favor of it will say yes.
Yes.
Now those who are against of it will say no.
No.
I think so, mostly opted for yes. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. The motion is opted. The bill is passed. Honorable Finance Minister, please.
funds from and out of consolidated funds of India for the services of financial year 2022 to 2023.
Now we are moving on to the next part, statement passing. I request Prime Minister to make a statement regarding the center insight of the people of the country.
Honorable Speaker Ji, with your permission, I want to bring up a statement for the people of our nation. Can I?
Yes, please proceed.
Honorable members of the Parliament, now I would like to put forth a statement answering the previous statement of Rahul Gandhi ji in the last session of the Parliament. He mentioned the centre tried to enforce its policy to the states, and I want to oppose that statement, and I strongly request and recommend the chair to kindly make that out of the records. Now, for that statement, I want to tell a perfect stand that the center never wants to lose the unity in diversity, and we always go for it. And my wish is only to incite people, not to divide people like some other parties did in the previous regime. Now here comes the statements that my government achieved in this regime. Our government launched the world's largest COVID vaccination drive. Successful reuse operation and perfectly rescued from Afghan and Ukraine. Abrogation of the Bill 370 in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh partition, and in 2015 I launched urban housing scheme, out of which the program ensures almost 2 crore people of India are benefited by this project, and the data is perfectly submitted to the General Secretary. And I have specially conducted a campaign this Independence Day to specially recognize the unnoticed freedom fighters of our nation. And schemes for affordable housing, as promised from our manifesto, has successfully been in the path and would soon, within my regime, would be implanted soon and implemented in a perfect way. Swachh Bharat Mission, Digital India Mission, and the vision to make Digital India has been perfectly aligned under my government. Digital transaction had reached its zenith only in my party's rule. And Make in India scheme, which is one of the historical schemes that the nation has ever seen. Women and child education is ensured under my government. Abolition of triple talaq and Ayush Bharat scheme, Ujjwala Yojana, Kisan Yojana, and I can continue this till 5 days or more than that. Due to the time constraint and considering the time of other delegates, I conclude by saying that our government continuously thinks to incite people, not to divide people.
Honorable member, please wait.
I want to speak about the
Honorable member, please wait. अभी प्रधानमंत्री ने बताया है हमें. Please wait. Honorable member, please wait. I will give you time.
No, speaker, this is not necessary.
I will give you time to raise question. Please
Remember,
wait.
you have to follow the decorum first.
Kindly maintain the decorum of the parliament. I will give time to each and every person up here. Now the leader of the opposition will take time to raise question regarding this statement. Yes, please proceed.
As mentioned by our Prime Minister, urban housing plans was one of your party's manifesto, but we don't think that is into action. We don't see that, and according to our survey reports, it is only been raised, but we don't see it in action. But our party is focused on common man's welfare, but we never allowed prices to skyrocket and had brought several interventions to arrest this rise. But your government never done this. And as you mentioned about the digital delivery of digital development in our country, but that leads to misuse and representation and fraudulent activities in all areas, but you have never taken those steps to avoid those activities. And you also mentioned about the Afghan and the Ukraine refugees that have also brought the rise in the inflation rate due to high providence of their our taxation to them, taxation revenue to them.
Honorable Prime Minister, please.
Honorable Member Sonia Gandhi ji, I want to make the statement clear. I did not tell that I have erected house for each and every individual of the nation. I have clearly mentioned 2 crore people have been benefited out of this plan. Not all the people are benefited. I think rather than 0, 2 crore is a great sum. The second question was so childish. It was fraudulence are getting higher. If you have money in your purse, even though pickpockets will take that from you. So rather than concentrating on the cyber security, how can the opposition party tell the nation not to grow further? Is it right? Fraudulence are everywhere in the nation, so that we have to concentrate only on the security, not in the development. We should not go back. And the third question was about the refugees. Nations first prioritize the life of the people, not on the economic drawbacks that we would face. We first want to make the people back. So that's what we stressed. Just like laughing like opposition party, our party will never make that. We made a clear decision, and that saved hundreds and thousands of people's life and their future.
Silence, please. When the Prime Minister is speaking, I will give you time for the opposition to raise questions. Sonia ji, please.
We never mentioned about the growth. We never asked about the growth rate to be declined. We just asked for the report on the survey, but we don't see that. And our party is just focused on the common man's welfare. The government never allowed the prices to skyrocket and had brought several interventions to arrest its rise. But your government never done this, and it is due to the several people have affected from this.
Honorable Pradhan Mantri ji.
Speaker ji, I have already mentioned.
Honorable Pradhan Mantri ji.
Speaker ji, I have already mentioned 2 crores is a sufficient data. First of all, 2 crores is a data. It has already been submitted to the General Secretary. So take some time during the lunch break. Sonia ji, you can inquire that reports. Our government is 100% transparent. And she was talking about the price skyrocket. I want to ask a single question and end my conversation, or my question to be more accurate. Prices skyrocket, they are usual. I want to ask one question. Is the same amount of money spent during the regime of Jawaharlal Nehru is still continuing till the rule of Manmohan Ji's rule? No. It is the evolution, it is the development. It is as an economic student and as an literates of economy would clearly understand this issue, that this is the wholesome development of the nation as everything gets an increase in price and inflations are also involved, which cannot be eradicated and a part of the development. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker sir, our Pradhan Mantri says that the hike in the rates are usual. but the gradual increase is okay, but the sudden hike is due to the unwanted import and export policies of the finance minister and the ruling party. That is the reason to the sudden hikes in the rates of every products.
The government goes by the path that is laid by Indian parties, the opposition parties. India could be a superpower in your regime itself. It could have been superpower in the rule of Manmohan Ji's period or tenure. The things that you bring up not develops the nation rather than decrease the efficiency of the current government. As I have clearly mentioned, it is a path of development, and as I have already mentioned the achievements, they are more than usual that our government has made it happen. And the question is about the sudden price hike. The sudden price hike is not for the products that are manufactured in our nation. They are only exported products like petrol and diesel, in which we are not the authority to fix the rate. The countries, the foreign countries who give us the petrol or other fuels determine the price, not my government. Thank you.
Motion to call attention from our Prime Minister about the achievements of India.
Honorable members of the Parliament, now I would like to put forth a statement answering the previous statement of Rahul Gandhi ji in the last session of the Parliament. He mentioned the centre tried to enforce its policy to the states, and I want to oppose that statement, and I strongly request and recommend the chair to kindly make that out of the records. Now, for that statement, I want to tell a perfect stand that the centre never wants to lose the unity in diversity, and we always. And my wish is only to incite people, not to divide people like some other parties did in the previous regime. Now here comes the statements that my government achieved in this regime. Our government launched the world's largest COVID vaccination drive. Successful reuse operation and perfectly rescued from Afghan and Ukraine. Abrogation of the bill 370 in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh partition. And in 2015, I launched urban housing scheme. The program ensures almost 2 crore people of India are benefited by this project, and the data is perfectly submitted to the General Secretary. And I have specially conducted a campaign this Independence Day to specially recognize the unnoticed freedom fighters of our nation. And schemes for affordable housing, as promised from our manifesto, has successfully been in the path and would soon, within my regime, would be implanted soon and implemented in a perfect way. Swachh Bharat Mission, Digital India Mission, and the vision to make Digital India has been perfectly aligned under my government. Digital transaction had reached its zenith only in my party's rule. And Make in India scheme, which is one of the historical schemes that the nation has ever seen. Women and child education is ensured under my government. Abolition of triple talaq and Ayush Bharat scheme, Ujjwala Yojana, Kisan Yojana, and I can continue this till 5 days or more than that. Due to the time constraint and considering the time of other delegates, I conclude by saying that our government continuously thinks to incite people, not to divide people.
The leader of the opposition take time to raise question regarding this statement. Yes, please proceed.
As mentioned by our Prime Minister, urban housing plans was one of your party's manifesto, but we don't think that is into action. We don't see that, and according to our survey reports, it is only being priced, but we don't see it in action. But our party is focused on common man's welfare, but we never allowed prices to skyrocket and have brought several interventions to arrest this price. But your government never done this. And as you mentioned about the digital delivery of digital development in our country, that leads to misuse and representation and fraudulent activities in all areas. But you have never taken those steps to avoid those activities.
Any supplementary question regarding the statement from the Prime Minister? Yes, please proceed.
Honorable Speaker Ji, our Pradhan Mantri says that India is full of frauds and pickpockets. This is the current situation of the India because of the ruling party is very unstable. The ruling party is very unstable in the law and order of India. India is fully corrupted and their policy and the ruling party's policy is corrupted collection. Speaker Ji, Honorable Speaker Ji,
Question is based on maintain silence. We have to give time to the opposition party to raise questions.
Yes.
Honorable member, we are running out of time, so kindly come to the question directly.
Yes, the law. I want to ask the law and order situation of our ruling party. This is the state of ruling party's law and order statement. The Prime Minister also said the India is full of pickpockets and frauds.
You are asking that what are the steps the government is going to take in the section?
Law and order.
Right. Honorable Prime Minister, please answer this.
Member Ji, I want to make sure that you have misunderstood me. I did not mention India is full of frauds and pickpockets.
Maintain the decorum and dignity of the parliament, please. As you are the members of the parliament, you are representing the citizen of the nation. It's your duty to raise question and criticize the government in a positive way. Ask any question regarding any bill, or any issues, or you need any need from respective functions. Or you can ask any issue regarding this particular ministry of the government. It's open to all. Anybody can ask, but kindly maintain silence, decorum and dignity of the house to answer the questions. Yeah, please proceed.
My question is for the Prime Minister. I don't know if he knows that there are 5 states in India that are financially affected. The states are Assam, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka. Even though the government collects 31.5% of tax revenue, it cannot satisfy the needs of everyone, every people in the country. I humbly request the Prime Minister to answer my question.
Prime Minister, please.
Thank you, Speaker Ji. As the states mentioned by the honorable member are the top 5 states from the bottom, right? If you are considering a student of 100 people, class of 100 people, there would be top 10 grades and least 10 grades. There cannot be least 10 grades. You cannot abolish that concept. We can enhance that. Government ensures the steps that are taken by that. And for making this, even that, and we ensure proper GDP growth every year. We ensure the proper GDP growth. Even in the time of COVID-19, I want to make this statement so clear for the people so that they could be getting a clear vision on our government's procedures. Even in the demonetization, we moved 8.2 from the current GDP of that particular situation. So, and making another statement clear, we are not collecting taxes for constructing my own house or some other people in my party's house. Actually, Sonia ji, this could have been the concept, this could have been the issue when you were in the ruling side. You should have thought these things and you would have not ended up with lots and lots of corruptions and collections that you have made. Ensuring one thing, taxes are used in a proper way. They are made for the education of the people. They are used to construct roads for the people. They are made sure to get each and every people their basic needs, and taxes are used only for the benefits of the people, and it is doing in a proper way. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, will the Minister of Education please state that whether the government has planned to ensure continuation of education of orphaned children in the coming years, and if so, the details thereof and the steps being taken in the regard. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of Education, please. I am responsible to answer your question, and what the question you have asked, the steps are undertaken and we will do it in further. Thank you.
He has the rights to ask the Prime Minister. Always you are taking steps.
Indana potta.
What is going to talk? Kindly maintain silence and will take a decision who is going to answer. The party has a statistical statement to submit. Is the government ready to submit the statistical data regarding this education? Kindly submit the statistical data to the Secretary General, please.
The question is baseless.
Maintain silence. We have to give time to the opposition party to raise questions. We are moving on to the zeroth hour. So the members of the parliament, anybody can ask any question regarding any bill or any issues, or you get any need from your respective constituency.
எஜுகேஷன் மினிஸ்டர் யார்? உங்களை எஜுகேஷன் மினிஸ்டர் பற்றி ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்க சொல்கிறேன், நீங்கள் ஆன்சர் பண்ணுற மாதிரி பண்ணுங்கள். இந்த பில் வந்து ப்ராக்டிக்கலாக சொல்லித்தராங்க, இது வந்து அவங்கள விட நல்லா இருக்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிடுங்க. எஜுகேஷன்
Honorable Speaker Ji, our Finance Minister first shaped out the idea of uniform taxation towards the country. We never opposed the idea of GST. We only opposed the bill preceded by the ruling party. Because they made over 5% tax on the essential commodities that severely affects every citizen of India. Why they made a 5% tax over than the essential commodities? We need a correct answer to that.
Honorable member of the opposition party, as you have said, you have already had an idea of GST. Here I would wanted to make sure that Congress only speaks and there is no action. And for your kind information, GST is imposed only on the luxury goods and not on the essential goods. Even on essential goods, we have imposed only 5% of GST. That too comes under the cost of production.
Honorable Speaker, presently the cost of cylinder is 1160 rupees. Middle class and lower middle class could not afford it. Already they are spending their daily wages in majorly petrol, in which the government informed the public that they would reduce the cost. Still the government had not taken any actions regarding this, and also they had said they would give subsidy to the cylinder. But till this minute there is no such subsidy reserved by the public, and I am damn sure that this government cannot satisfy the needs of the people.
So, Honorable Member of Opposition Party, as you said that our government has failed to do that, to make sure I'm telling that every people is receiving their subsidies on time.
Member is not receiving, but subsidies are equally credited for everybody.
But we don't see that in
You will not see it. Congress
You keep on complaining.
Congress will see only depreciation.
Delegates, please wait.
Okay, so as per our plan, the subsidy is one of the method to help the person who is not even affordable to give us.
It is in action, delegate. Go and see in rural areas.
Asking why subsidy is not
It is in action.
It is being received by people.
It is in action. We don't see it.
It is in action. Congress will not
You
see
will
it.
not see that, ma'am.
Congress will not see it.
It's not in action.
Delegate.
Whenever we ask this question, you started criticizing our party. That is not fair. You should answer the question first.
We are answering what the Minister of Finance is doing now.
Future answer.
On the track.
It is a present answer for a kind information. It is a present answer.
Somebody also can tap the pens.
Ministers, kindly listen to my words. If you are doing like this, nobody's voice will reach out other persons and citizens who is watching from outside the house. So kindly maintain the dignity. I will give you chance one by one. Please conclude this session now. We will discuss about this on. Okay. Any other final question do you want to ask? Yes. This is the last question. We will discuss the remaining question tomorrow. We have to move to the declaration part now. Okay. Positive way by criticizing the government, and the government also answered a lot of questions. Hope this satisfy the opposition party. Hearing all the discussions of various members of this honorable house, let us now move on to the declaration part. Now the house would bring two declaration or more based on the wave. According to the members who are stand for it or against to the declaration, the declaration that gets most yes will be passed. Now the Prime Minister will declare the statement.
நம்மளோட தான் பாஸ் ஆக
Honorable Speaker, thank you for granting me the opportunity to pass the resolution. First of all, I would like to heartily congratulate the people from our party and the opposition party who paved way for the nation's welfare, asking questions and inquiring about the nation's schemes. As we are in the development side and constantly working on the enhancement, I hope our ministers enhanced that particular answer with a perfect statistics and reports in the parliament. And moving for the declaration, summing up all the discussions made in the house, I would like to put forth 8 resolutions to be passed by the house. First, a special team to be assured and set up to enhance the quality of environment impact assessment, as it's perfectly going now. The quality needs to be enhanced. The government understands that and takes the criticism of the opposition party and moves forward towards the development of the nation. Bringing up Kisan Yojana to ensure farmers' current power cut issues, and we will make it a great success within 2022. transgender community health issues are focused on the government, and SMILE organization or SMILE scheme has been brought up to ensure free treatment of the transgenders and ensure their health ailments in the future, and also in major and minor health actions they need from the nation, and the nation is planning and is doing it for free. And I would request the people to get the correct awareness of this scheme and get benefited out of this. A special team is set up to speed up the Swachh Bharat mission and make the nation more clean. Rural development schemes such as Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana is executed. Rise in incentives of the employees of Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Scheme will be ensured within this year, and people working in it will get benefited out of that. Last, the quality of education that the students have will be continuously monitored and enhanced and updated in a perfect way as it should go. And last, the unnoticed freedom fighters would be given greatest recognition in my regime. And this is all about the resolution, and as I have mentioned during the starting of the resolution, I congratulate all the positive criticisms made by the opposition party that helped the government to force and work towards the nation's welfare. As a house, as a members of the parliament, I request all the members to unanimously pass this declaration and make the people get benefited out of this resolution. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Now we are moving on to the voting session. Those who are in favor of this declaration will say yes. Yes. Those who are against of it will say no. I think so. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. Yes, have it. The House understands that there is only a single declaration and maximum of the members opted for it. So the declaration is unanimously passed. Congratulations, delegates. The session is adjourned. We will meet by tomorrow 10 a.m. Thank you.